you're going to be on the Lion's Den, which is on JioCinemas.
The Lion's Den. Coming soon.
How did this opportunity come to you?
The first day when I went on the set, it was the first time I've been on a set of that capacity. I was crying.
You're the only woman on the board of Surana Group. How did you convince your family?
I'm the first female engineer in my family, the first woman in my community to graduate from an Ivy League school. I did have a lot of backlash in the first few years. Everybody would look at me like I've come here for a hobby. It was very painful in the beginning, but I would still show up to work every day. So I literally had to earn my seat in my own family business. Like having those luxury cars or having a luxury life is not good enough for me anymore.
What are those checks that you would have?
I need the company to be PAT positive the day I'm investing. If anything can be done in 100 rupees, all my founders will get it done in.
If you watch Shark Tank, who do you relate a lot to from a thinking standpoint as an investor?
You know, honestly, the background I come from is a lot of.
So US VC culture versus Indian VC culture, right?
You have a founder which can take a company from 0 to 500 crores. Sometimes that founder may not be right for the company to go from 500 to. If you have a passion towards something and you're not making money, it is a hobby. If you're making money, it's a business. So convert that activity into a commercial thing.
Hi Vinita, welcome to PowerUp with Pradeep.
Thank you so much for having me here. And I have seen so many of your episodes, Pradeep. I must say you're doing a fabulous job. I can't wait to start the conversation.
Thanks a lot. In fact, when we were initially thinking of approaching you, we were not sure if you would be okay coming onto the show or not. And because you are sort of very busy, I was speaking to somebody from the industry and I'm like, I was discussing, we're planning to call Vinita and they were saying, Pradeep, I'm not sure if she would come because she's very busy managing Surana Group as a ED, then win-win situation. She's already invested in 12 startups and running multiple shows, and she gets invited a lot, and you would get to see her on Lion's Den, which is going to air on JioCinemas. So somebody who's going on TV, actually, would she be interested in coming to podcast? And that to a podcast which is very new. We just crossed 1,000 subscribers.
Congratulations.
So thank you. So we were not sure if you would be okay coming in, but it means a lot that you're here. Thanks for coming in.
I think you caught me at the right time. So this is just before the show is coming. But I mean, jokes apart, I think these kind of conversations really help the impact we have on our aspiring entrepreneurs. So every room I walk into, whether it's 20 people or 500 people, I feel like if I can impact anyone, through my stories, to my experience, I think I'm doing the job. So I am more grateful to be here.
Yeah, in fact, even before I ask you questions, I want to tell you my experience when I was researching about you, right? Your 12 startups investment journey. You're the only woman on the board of Surana Group and probably the first female member on the group from family coming out of that ceiling, and then you are on the board. That was like amazing. How did you, in fact, get that? How did you convince your family and parents to get onto the board?
So for this, there are a lot of women who are passively as directors and shareholders, and they get a lot of benefits from being a shareholder. But I wanted to, ever since I was a young child, I didn't know the gender bias. Like I couldn't understand the gender bias. So I was like, why should women do certain things and men do certain things?
Right.
But growing up in a traditional patriarchal family, you have no other choice to listen to what your elders are saying. Then there was a transition in my teens where I started questioning. So I used to question like, why not? And that why not got me to a lot of places, that why not got me to, I'm the first female engineer in my family, the first
Wow.
woman in my community to graduate from an Ivy League school.
Yeah.
So when I started breaking these early barriers, then entering the boardroom was just a stepping stone. However, that said, I did have a lot of backlash in the first few years
Right.
from my family, who are also the promoters, from the senior management, who are not my family.
Yeah.
It's like, because your family doesn't take you that seriously, they also kind of mirror that.
Right.
So I literally had to earn my seat in my own family business.
Yeah. In fact, there's one other thing that I kind of got to see where, you were a very quiet child. From there, today on the board of Surana Group is definitely, I'm sure you would have pushed yourself very, very hard to break all those boundaries.
Yeah, exactly. So when we are working in family business, we are in the top of the line. So what
Right.
do I mean by that is, we are we are given like a cabin directly, or at a director
Yeah.
role, or a senior management role, and then director promoter role. So what I realize is, I am the end of the line here. So how do I learn how do I be in high performing teams?
Right.
So that led me to lead organizations of 500 business women, like the FICCI Flow organization, or the Gen International Trade Organization,
Right.
where everyone is like you, everyone is running a business, and leading them made me realize that you have to continuously push your boundaries.
Right.
Just because you have conquered one peak, it becomes very stale.
Right.
My yesterday's wins are very stale.
Yeah.
So how do you push yourself next?
Right.
So after being on the board of my own family business, I was the president of certain organizations who are leaders, or who are business family owners.
Right.
So like that, like I feel I have always wanted to conquer the next peak,
Got it.
and that keeps me very, very, very humble.
Vinita, so you actually cracked one of the big deals back in the initial stages, right? 2 crores, if I'm not wrong, carbon credit deal, right? I'm referring to that. So, how did you do that? A lot of people were not able to, and you were the one who actually went ahead and crack it. What was the mindset that you had, and what was that other people missing on cracking it?
Just to give you a little background about Surana Group, so we started off as a telecom company,
Right.
and we lost out on the technology from when the world moved on from wired phones to wireless.
Right.
And during that dip, we went into the solar industry.
Right.
We are today a solar company, a real estate company, and we also have a copper company, which are the 3 public listed companies. And we also have a lot of other small businesses that we do under the group.
Yeah.
In the real estate business, we do warehousing for a lot of quick commerce companies, and a lot of automotive industries. Like, to give you an example, Flipkart, Big Basket, Kia, Skoda are our
Awesome.
clients. I'm just giving you a little bit background about Surana Group and what we are all about. But this particular deal that you're talking about was in the solar business. When I was in my mid-20s, and I initially joined the business, everybody would look at me. It was very alien for a woman to come and work in the family business. So everybody would look at me like I've come here for a hobby.
Okay.
And it was very painful in the beginning, but I would still show up to work every day. I would
Right.
still try and learn as much as I can about these various different industries we are in. And always my headspace that time was like, let me not feel entitled. Let me feel like I've earned my space.
Awesome.
So when I was showing up to work every day, I would always get projects which really didn't pick up steam anywhere, or you
Okay.
can call the failed projects.
Right.
So one of the projects that came to me early on was to sell voluntary carbon units.
Right.
So these are something that renewable energy companies have for tax credits.
Right.
And a lot of my peers and counterparts within
Right.
the business tried to sell it for a couple of years and they didn't have any luck with it.
Yeah.
So when it came to me, it was almost like, okay, iska kuch hone nahi wala hai. You just see if you want to, like, get your hands dirty with it.
So people knew this is not going to work, and then they said, play around it, maybe.
Exactly.
Okay.
That was the emotion. And so I was like, okay, let me take it up. But every task that came to me, I always put in a lot of gratitude and forgiveness.
Okay.
Forgiveness to the people who did not believe in me, and gratitude for getting this opportunity.
Right.
Because as a mid 20-year-old, you're getting a deal of, $300,000. It is still an opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I always looked at the positive side of it.
Right.
And I went in like that, and I did a bit of R&D at that point, that what worked and what didn't work. And I think everybody were trying to contact other renewable energy companies, and I went to a conventional energy company. So conventional energy, they usually don't have tax benefits and tax
Okay.
credits. So they can benefit more from
Right.
these kind of government programs. And so the sale was very easy, and we got it done. And the day we got the money in the bank, the COO of the company, I
Okay.
remember right now, who wasn't a family member, he sent out a mail to the entire group that, Vinita has put herself on the map.
Wow.
So these kind of small wins really, really count in
Right.
in your early stage of your career.
Yeah.
And that really said, like, I am here to stay.
Right.
I am here to prove myself, and
Right.
I am not going to be a quitter, or I'm not going to, go under the blankets because I'm having a bad day.
Yeah.
Even today, I have so many times where I have to prove myself, in the boardroom, in meetings. I have such bad days, like I just want to shut off everything and quit everything. And if you can just push through that one day and
Yeah.
show up the next day, somehow, I don't know how this works, but it's very magical. The next day when you show up after a bad day is going to be one of your biggest breakthroughs.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
that's what I've experienced.
In fact, as you said, you were the first engineer, and you were the first one to go to Ivy League. You went to Wharton, if I'm correct,
Yes.
right? So how has that journey been? As in, Wharton is definitely, among the top 7 Ivy Leagues, Harvard, Stanford, in that league, right? Going to such a college, leaving family, or, a lot of times this bias, again, gender bias is also
Yeah.
very openly seen, right? Within my family, when I look at my cousins who have slightly older kids, when they think of sending a male child out of their base town or the city, say Hyderabad, from there, if they want to send her to abroad, they're okay sending a guy, but girl child, they're not okay with, right? So that would have been definitely one other push from your side.
Absolutely. I think the minute I voiced this to my family that I am thinking of applying to an Ivy League school, I think the first reaction was like, why?
In fact, just to sorry to cut you, first of all, getting a seat in such a college itself is a challenge.
Yeah.
Now you got it. Them sending would be another challenge for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I was applying, so the first reaction was why? Like, why do you want to waste time? And during that time, there were a lot of big weddings, big fat weddings in my extended family. And the narrative was like, you should be going for these weddings rather than sitting in your room and studying for the examinations.
Yeah.
But that clarity of thought was always there for me.
Got it.
I was like, the weddings will come and go,
Yeah.
and if my family is upset today, they'll be, busy tomorrow. But how can I build my own life, build my own identity. You know, it is by challenging myself to the next level. So when you speak about Wharton, top 1%
Right.
get admitted. So
Yeah.
if they are like, you know, um, 5,000 applicants,
Yeah.
right? Only the top 1% get admitted to the
I think
school.
it would go even beyond 5,000 if I'm not
Yeah,
wrong.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. And so for you know, so for me to go through that process,
Yeah.
and my biggest motivation was that I don't want to let my family down, and at the same time I don't want them to be right,
Got it.
because they said that you don't need to do this or you won't be able to do this.
Got
So
it.
that was a very big motivation, because I did not leave one corner unturned. Like whether it is your presentation, your, you know, the physical presentation, or your dialect, the kind of words you use, the kind
Yeah.
of you know, the kind of demeanor you need to have in the interviews. I literally had those horse blinders on, and I covered everything. I spoke to a lot of people, and I've also gone through a lot of weird situations, like being
Oh.
from a privileged background. When I was in the US giving these interviews and all, I have slept on the couches of my cousins. Yes.
Oh.
So, which my family was like, why do you need to do all this? You can, you know,
You have so much
you
here.
can just have the luxury you want over here. Um, but for me, I think luxury is boring.
Right.
Luxury is very boring. Legacy is very interesting. So, what I did was, I knew that the discomfort is very short term, but the goal, you know, the drive towards the goal, the journey towards the goal is so
Right.
interesting.
Right.
So even in the process of getting admitted, I think I upgraded a lot.
Yeah.
But when I entered Wharton, you know, I did have an imposter syndrome.
Okay.
I did feel, okay, I am the lucky one out of everyone. Maybe they made a mistake. So that is the
Okay.
imposter syndrome. You feel like you're the lucky ticket. You don't really deserve to be here.
Right.
And that made me work very hard.
Oh. Thinking of, matlab, despite you worked hard, and then you still had this feeling, I'm lucky.
Yeah.
They chose me
think-
wrongly by
Yes.
mistake.
Yes, that it's also a bit of unworthiness or an imposter syndrome, where you feel like you still don't deserve, you know, these things in life. And when you go there, and if you do feel that, then you work very hard.
Right.
However, today I feel I have a much healthy relationship with working hard.
Right.
I think I go more from inspiration. At that time, it was more out of fear.
Got it. Got it.
So, yeah, so Wharton has been a very interesting journey and a very interesting feather in my cap. So, every room I walk into,
Yeah.
the first thing, I mean, first they used to say she's from Surana Group.
Right.
But Surana Group I was born into.
Right.
Wharton I have earned.
Yeah.
So now everywhere I go, the first thing they say is she's a Wharton graduate. So
That's really nice.
Yeah.
Usually, when we speak of investors or VCs, right, we tend to see people invest, and not everybody handholds the company. But one of the things that I keep hearing about you, or read about you elsewhere, is that you initially were that investor who's not on the board, as in, you know, you were not being a co-founder, probably an investor, right? But now these days you started getting into co-founder sort of role. What made you move out of this investor to a co-founder role? Why that?
So,
It's a good thing. I'm asking this from a positive note.
no, absolutely. I mean, I was smiling because the genesis of it is
Right.
actually from, I have burnt my fingers. I had
Ah,
made certain investments as a passive investor, where, you know, big stories. And see, as startup founders, everyone is delusional.
Right.
That is a core characteristic to be a startup founder. Yes, be delusional and be a storyteller, of course, but also have the tactical and the practical solutions in place.
Right.
As a passive investor, I think I have burnt my fingers because I believed in the growth story without the grounding, without the practicality of it.
Ah,
And I think, you always learn from your failures. I think failures are the best teachers. So that, so I did lose money. So when I lost money, and again, being a woman in a family business, making a mistake is 10 times more, it's blown out of proportion.
right.
So then I thought that, okay, I need to create a system where I am protecting my capital.
Absolutely, very, very important. Yeah.
And that was the genesis of being an active investor. And then I have also worked with very veterans in the investment
Right.
sort of industry, in the private equity industry, where I realized they do the same thing.
Okay.
They do go in and they do help out, like literally as co-founders, because A, they're protecting their money, if not growing it,
Right. Right.
and B, it is so much fun. It is so much fun to be from the journey of 0 to 1.
Right. Right.
1 to 10 is, it's very scalable, it's very systemized, but the
Yeah.
0 to 1 journey, it's absolutely like engaging, gripping, thrilling.
Yeah.
So I realized I also have the thrill for it.
Right.
As some
Right.
people do bungee jumping, I invest in startups.
Vinita, I'm actually, you spoke of 0 to 1. I have seen these journeys in my career. 15 years, most of the time I spent with startups. There was this startup called Little, where I started everything from scratch. As in, I was hired as a city head for Hyderabad. So, starting from office space hiring to team hiring, I was the first employee. Then I got everything in place within the city. I was given a product, I was given a certain budget to run the show. I've been there with the company from start till exit. So I really love that journey. And this was like 2015 to 17. I've seen that 0 to 1 journey on how it feels. So I can relate to what you're saying. And post that, I moved to PhonePe. PhonePe at that time when I joined, nobody knew. My offer letter also came on the lines of Flipkart's, software and all that, right? So I joined them at that stage, and by the time I came in, we were so confident that every single handset uh, people have, PhonePe would be there in that. That was the time I came out. So I spent almost about three years, 10 months or something like that. So what you are saying of 0 to 1, I thoroughly enjoyed that, and today I'm standing on my own company that I've started, and that experience is definitely adding value to the current experience that I'm going through, and it's helping me out. So definitely thanks for being an investor and helping people like me who are starting up.
uh, a lot of people view me like that. They're like, you're doing so much good to the society, and you're, so philanthropic, and you're such a mentor. But honestly, like the truth of the moment, the truth of, the uh, idea behind it
Right, right.
is actually I'm super selfish.
Oh,
I have so much fun doing
right.
it. B, it's like I am growing.
Okay.
Whenever I'm problem solving at that 0 to 1 level, it is, there are certain parts of my creative journey which I haven't yet tapped, that I'm tapping.
Right,
There are certain networks that I haven't yet tapped,
right,
which are very easy. See, after you come to a certain stage, it's very easy to open doors. But I
right.
haven't opened those doors.
Got it.
So being in these situations is actually making me push my boundaries.
Okay.
At the same time, uplift a family.
Right,
You
right,
know.
right.
So all my co-founders and their employees, I think the kind of impact we are creating, it feels like I am giving,
Got it.
but honestly, I am receiving much more.
I get that. So two-way learning is what you're referring to. Got it. So let's deep dive on the investor side of you, right? There are other hats. Probably I'll touch that later.
Sure.
I'll want to get deeper onto the investor side of yours, right? Now, would you mind naming the 12 startups or maybe the business category that they are in?
So, by default, not by design, it has been tech.
Okay.
So, UI, UX, gaming, data analytics. These are the main kind of industries we focused on, but we have also started in the co-working spaces. We are doing eco-friendly cutlery. So
Okay.
I have gone beyond the tech space, but yes, for the initial 3 years, it was by default it was tech.
Got that. Got that. So you as an investor, right? Let me put it this way, right? If I'm wanting to start, say, be it a student or someone who's already working and has this killer idea and want to go out and start, uh, at what stage should someone approach Vinita for a investment guidance or investment of it?
So, on an average, in a week, I receive around 30 to 50 pitch decks.
Whoa.
And it is very, very miscommunicated because a lot of them come to me at a prototype level.
Okay.
I am not the investor for that.
Got it.
I come in when you have a product market fit.
Got it.
When you already have your first 100 customers, or
Right.
when you already have your first 2 stores, then I come in and I take that, then I give that journey a nitro boost.
Got it.
I don't, me and my team, like I have a due diligence team and I have a business intelligence team.
Right.
So me and my team, we don't have that bandwidth to, do the trial and error with the product market fit and the prototype level.
Got it.
There are many people, there are many angel investors
Right.
who do that.
Right.
We don't do that.
Got it.
Our ticket sizes are also different than an angel investor.
Mm-hmm.
But the value we bring, our processes also are more efficient when you've already, shown the proof of the pudding.
Understood. Understood. So anyone who's in the idea stage or MVP stage are not the right fit for you. People who have got their product market fit and have customers who are paying them. So basically, revenue generating stage is when you would come in.
Right.
Understood.
Also, another thing I'd like to say, I'm glad you mentioned revenue generating, because that is so important for me. There is a joke in my investor circle. Everybody says that you're such a business minded investor. So, what that means is a lot of people, a lot of investors invest in companies
Right.
which are burning but have a great growth story after 10 years. I am
Okay.
not that investor.
Okay.
I need the company to be PAT positive the day I'm investing,
Awesome.
because I want to know if the founder
Yeah.
can ensure that, then I know that my money is safe.
Got it.
So I don't know if it is from a selfish perspective or if it is a best practice in the investment industry,
Yeah.
but this formula has really worked for me.
Got
because
that.
all my founders, if anything can be done in 100 rupees, all my
Right.
founders will get it done in 80.
Wow.
So, and that is how my teams also operate.
Understood.
It's that jugaad mindset, it's the frugal mindset. It's like,
Yeah.
how can we build relationships and then
Right.
build companies on it?
Yeah, yeah, fantastic. So we now understood what stage of the company you invest in, right? Now, what are those things that you check, the checklist of it, right? Let's say a company is now generating revenue, has paying customers, and they want to approach you. Now, what are those things that you would check so that this video should become a clip for them before they reach you? They know that Vinita's team going to check these things from me. I should be better prepared. What are those checks that you would have, right? So that we can probably keep that as a checklist on the screen.
Absolutely. So, we have a process
Sure.
to it. The first check mark is we have a basic 2-3 questions that we ask for,
Right.
and definitely your pitch deck, because trust me, there have been instances where people have walked into my office and they are building the company on the go. And we don't have the bandwidth for it. We don't have airtime of even 10 minutes to entertain that.
Right.
So we've put these systems in place. So the first thing that if you have your pitch deck, like a couple of questions you can answer.
Right.
Then we move on to like a couple of rounds with the due diligence team.
Understood.
Then it goes to the business intelligence team.
Right.
And then we go deep dive into the financials.
Okay.
Into the competitive analysis.
Right.
Into the total addressable market.
Right.
Like these are a few hygiene or compass check that every investor does. And after that, we also focus a lot on the moat.
Okay.
What is the USP that you have that others don't have?
Right.
Like why are you, solving this problem, and how are you solving this problem better?
Got that.
That is very important because for the long run, I think it's definitely a cash cow.
Yeah.
After that, we also see what are our strengths.
Right.
And how can we come into the picture.
Right.
As Surana Group or at an individual level, what are the doors I can open for you? If I can open those doors for you.
Got it.
Then it's very easy. Then it's a very hand-in-glove situation to go into these companies. Because from day one, we are taking your company from whatever level you are at to the next level.
Right.
From 10 to 100.
Right. So, we spoke of stage, we spoke of the checklist that you look at. I would want to now understand, now let's say all of these are in place, right? What are those key things that you say yes to, right? And how important is founder market fit, and what you look at when you look at founder, or when you have a conversation with founder?
Yeah,
founder or founding team rather.
So the checklist is what I told you is something that is very, very analytical.
Yeah.
The other side of the checklist is very, very emotional.
Right.
Like, is there a founder vibe going? You know?
Yeah.
Can I really trust this person? Can I, because investors have a very bad rep, but this is not talked often about the founders. There are quite a few founders who are doing very funny things with their books. They're doing very they're not good. They're not best practices.
Let's be open with it. A lot of founders I have noticed, they play around just to get the numbers in place, or by hook or crook, either by pushing team, or there are times when people manipulated the books, which is not the reality on the ground. So I understand what you're saying, and a lot of viewers probably, I believe, are smart. They understand what you're referring to, so you can be open.
Exactly. So what we realized is when the founders are pitching to us, they conveniently leave out certain aspects that we find later through our investigations.
Got it.
Through the either through business investigation or through the due diligence process, which is more based on the numbers.
Right.
So when we, and there are so many, there's such shocks and surprises, that what was said to us on day one is completely different by day 100.
Yeah.
So in that process, I realized that you cannot judge a book by its cover.
Makes sense.
And this maturity, this experience has again come from a lot of missteps, from a lot of trials and errors, because as a person, I did invest from the heart.
Yeah.
And sometimes I still do. Because I want people to win. I want people to grow.
Right.
But, there needs to be this practical aspect that comes to it. And I think my team balances that really well.
Awesome.
So whereas I am thinking like you need to reach for the clouds and nothing is impossible, they are like, this is the ground reality. So I have, I have that magic formula going on with my team.
Awesome.
So whenever, they show me like, this is the reality, then we have a very good balance of, okay, if there are certain red flags, it is a complete no. we cannot get into the business.
Got that.
And sometimes, we love the founders, we love the problems that they're solving.
Right.
But on an ethical standpoint,
Yeah.
if they don't come to our level,
Right.
then it is a straight no for us.
So on the founder market fit, right? How important is the background and the relevance of the industry that founder is coming from? Per se, if the founder is experienced, if the founder is a fresher, how would you see in both these scenarios? Because fresher ke case mein, there's no experience that speaks about it other than the pedigree. How important is the background of the founder is a question. So again, answer it from both the standpoints. One, if it is a experienced person, if it is fresher, how do you evaluate in those two scenarios?
So I think I've invested in both. So, my founder in the gaming industry, he would know anything and everything about gaming. They've been gamers themselves for like last 10, 15 years.
Oh, okay.
So, they have that grasp on the industry. They know everything about the hardware, the software, the new drops, and
Right.
they're very in sync with the market. And I've also invested in founders who have a different background. Say, example, they're coming from an engineering background, going into like a business background, or they're coming from a non-tech background and they're building a tech product.
Yeah, makes sense.
What I have realized, the commonality why I go for the founders is it's not about your past.
Got that.
It's as on date, what kind of knowledge do you have?
Right.
Are you on top of your game?
Right.
Are you you have the entire knowledge in your industry
Right.
as of today?
Got that.
So it doesn't matter what you've done in the past, but as of today, if you can grasp everything, if you can say like, okay, this is the current trends, or this is how we can, revolutionize the industry.
Right.
I think
right.
they are founders worth betting on.
Got that. Got that.
And I've also realized, I mean, I am, I've come from the strong education background, but I've also realized education doesn't matter as
Yeah.
much as the drive.
Got it.
So if
Yeah.
you have that drive, if you have the industry knowledge, I think, and if you show in the subtleties that you are willing to actually be here for the long game. What do I mean by that? Is there are certain founders, and we know it in the first few meetings. We know it that they're building a product to sell it to a bigger player.
Got it.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that.
Right.
But I want to see a founder love what they're doing.
Got it.
I want them to tell me there is no exit strategy. Those are the best kind of founders.
Right. Right. There's so much knowledge on the building side of it. It sometimes confuses being a founder myself, right? People speak of exit strategy a lot. In fact, when a couple of VC pitches that I've noticed, I watch Y Combinator, I listen to people from T Hub, all of that, right? People speak of you should be clear with exit strategy. As you rightly pointed out, he or she who's a founder, they're building in, right? And they believe they're solving a problem. Now, exit can't be clear on day one.
Mm-hmm.
I personally very strongly feel that exit can't be clear on day one. You're still walking an uncertain path where you're trying to solve a problem, build something. How do you expect this person to be clear with exit? But counterintuitive, a lot of VC says founder should be clear with exit. In world with different opinions,
Definitely, but I would, say in terms of content creation, if you're a content creator,
right?
If you're always thinking of what kind of brand associations do I get, what kind of media features I get, I think you've lost the game. You have to focus on your craft, and then your brand associations, your awards, your all the paraphernalia around it is a
Right.
byproduct.
Right.
So your craft is the main thing. So
Yeah.
what is the craft that you're presenting? If you're if you're talking about startups, what is the day to day? Like, are you coming in and solving those problems and creating that impact?
Right.
And everything else, even earning money, I would say, is a
Yeah.
byproduct of that.
Yeah.
And if you have that equation right, if you have that intention right,
Right.
the foundation is very strong for a 50-story building.
Right.
Otherwise, you might just build a 10-story building, and if the foundation is not that right, then you're grappling to like grow.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. In fact, I read this. In fact, one of the quotes where Will Smith speaks about it. His father taught him on placing the one single brick. You can't build a wall on day one. Place one brick at a time and place it in such a perfection that you believe that's the last brick that you're placing. That's how you build a strong wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can relate to what you're saying with that quote.
Yeah, and on a philosophical standpoint, so one of my core philosophies is from the Yoga Sutras, which says Abhyasa Vairagya, and it's also in the Gita. Basically, it means that you put 100% of your focus and your efforts,
Right,
and you be completely detached from your results.
right.
So when you can do that,
Yeah.
right? When you can have your eye on the goal, on your efforts, and not on the end game, or have that feverishness for the result.
Yeah.
Like, am I going to, if an actor, right? Am I going to get an award for this movie? I think they have lost the game.
Yeah.
But if they are in the play of the act,
right.
then I think everything comes organically to
Got it.
them.
Yeah.
And I have seen that in my own personal life.
Yeah.
So there are these certain core values that even I have imbibed for myself, which I kind of spread that
Yeah.
to the ecosystem that I have created.
Right. In fact, I can very well relate to what you're saying. Again, a personal journey that I have gone through. Back in the day, I come from a family which is a typical middle class. Mom is a teacher, dad is a businessman, local
Yeah.
small business, right? Now, from that stage, for a person like me coming to Hyderabad and getting a job post MBA, 3 lakh was like, oh wow, that's a salary, I want to hit it hard. 2010, I started my career. 3 lakhs was like, yeah, this is a good package, nothing can't beat this. From there, when I exited, I was on a figure which people in my family circle can't even think of. I'll be open. I think I don't mind revealing numbers. I was at 66 lakhs as an overall CTC plus. There were ESOPs and other benefits that I annually get, close to once a year or even above once a year if I put everything together. So I never thought of, will my salary grow to this level? All I knew was I was this person who works with a lot of honesty. And even when I hire people in my team, I keep integrity and honesty as the top most of everything, right? I'm okay if the person doesn't have skill, I can help him learn it. And over a period of time, they will perform well if they are having this first point in them.
Right.
So that becomes a topmost priority for me. And I was always operating like a CEO, whether I was an individual contributor, whether I was a small team leader kind of a person with small team, or whether I was managing a 300 people team. In every single role that I worked in, I always worked like a CEO of that particular company. And if I was a CEO, what would I expect? That used to be my intent.
Yeah.
And that gave me a push to what I was when I was exiting. And I operate with that intent throughout my life.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I'm saying. It's an amazing journey.
Right. Yeah. So, Vinita, on the investment side, right, you spoke of what is the kind of company stage, what do you look at in the founder, the checklist before you invest, right? From that investment standpoint, you're now a lion in, you're going to be on the Lion's Den, which is on JioCinemas. How did this opportunity come to you? So quite curious. On one side, there is Shark Tank, and people like us, a lot of Indians consume Shark Tank very, very heavily,
Yeah.
right? I think they are on the season 3 now. and on the other side you are now getting featured as a lion. There it is shark, here it is lion.
Lions, yeah.
So Vinita is gonna be lion. Wait for this. This is gonna come on TV, guys. So I would want to understand, from being an investor outside now on that show, judging people within that stipulated time and then investing. I would want to know, firstly, how did you get this opportunity? Secondly, what's your philosophy going to be on the show?
Okay, that's a really interesting question. And it's also a perfect segue from the previous questions because I practice what I preach. So when I put my 100% efforts in the investor role,
Right.
it was, I think, it was 3 years into the investor role.
Right.
And I had, made certain good investments, had a bit of success, and I am very vocal. As a woman, women don't talk about their successes.
Yeah.
So I am very vocal. Like, you have come to my cabin. It is very, very apparent of my achievements and accolades are very apparent in
so many awards there were.
Yes. And everybody who walks into the room, they're like, why is it so loud? I'm like, because women aren't loud enough about their achievements. So I feel like, through social media,
Right.
the producers of the show found me.
Okay.
Yes. And
Because you are visible and it was speaking out loud. Got that. Okay.
and they went through a lot of past works, news articles, and they were like, the first call, they were like, we want you as our lioness. I was like, wait, what? I'm like, aren't you gonna have like a couple of more back and forth calls to
Right,
see if we
right.
are a good fit? They were like, no, we want you. Now you tell us if you want us.
Wow.
So, and those were really like spine chilling moments for me because when I called up, my parents or my loved ones, they're like, the knee jerk reaction always is like, are you sure you want to do this? What if you're a big meme or a troll on national cinema?
Yeah.
And, and there are the other side, my friends and my mentors, they're like, of course you're going to do it. If not you, who can do this better?
Absolutely.
So I think I always focus on the cheerleading side of it, and but I also take a lot of depth from the fears.
Right.
So when my parents said like, are you sure, like, you want to do this or you'll be a troll or a meme, like the thing that I take from there is, oh my god, I have to prepare. If my investment game was at a beginner level, I need to be an expert or an advanced level to enter the show, because I want to not just be like a pretty face over there. I want to be the most intelligent business investor on the show.
Yeah.
So from the time I got the show till the time we started shooting,
Right.
I think I would have seen more than 200 episodes of Shark Tank, The Lions, The Dragon's Den, Shark Tank USA, and all these sport funding reality shows.
Right.
Apart from that, I spent a lot of time with my due diligence team. I spent way more time than I would previously do.
Right.
Because I was like, no, I want to understand your job.
Got that.
So before, I would just outsource it to my own teams, and then I would come in at a decision level.
Right.
But this really changed my craft. I was like, no, I want to learn what you are doing.
Got it.
I spent a lot of time being this intelligent investor.
Yeah.
And then the show happened, and hopefully it airs soon. But even like the shoot, it was the first day when I went on the set, it was the first time I've been on a set of that capacity.
Right.
I was crying.
Oh?
Because there are more than 50 cameras, the lighting, more than 100 people on our production set. And I'm just talking about crew.
Right.
Post-production and all is even higher.
Right.
So it was in one of the top studios in Bombay. And the director of our show is the one who's done Kapil Sharma show and Satyameva Jayate. So you have, the veterans from the industries, my fellow lions, everyone is so much more experienced than me.
Right.
So it was a very nerve-wracking day one. But like literally from day two, I think I got back on my feet. I'm like, I need to win this game.
Awesome.
And it's very funny how the tables turn even in your own family. So when that happened, my family also, started cheering for me. I said, no, you are a lioness.
Awesome.
You have to do it. There is no quitting.
Right.
And, and everyone started supporting me so much
Got it.
that in any aspect, if you need our help,
Right.
we are here for you.
Awesome.
So I think once you have that traction, that momentum, that clarity, that intention
Right.
for something which is much bigger than yourself,
Right. Right.
where your ego, your fears, your small little pettiness doesn't matter.
Yeah.
When you have something much greater than you, the kind of forces that join you is
Yeah.
unimaginable. And I have experienced this firsthand.
Believe me or not, I'm actually having goosebumps right now when you're saying this. I'm serious. I'm like, man, that's a kill. So, fingers crossed, waiting for the show to come out. So, Vinita, now that you're a lioness, right? I'm not sure, sorry, if you watch Shark Tank US and Shark Tank India. Have you watched it ever?
Yes. And
You do watch.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
are you friends with any of the investors out there on Shark Tank? No. But then from a investor standpoint or thinking standpoint, since you have watched, uh, usually we see Namita, Vinita. There's Vinita in that also. So Namita, Vinita, Anupam, all these guys there, right? So who do you relate a lot to from a thinking standpoint as an investor?
Honestly, the background I come from is a lot of Namita's background because
Okay.
she comes from a family business background as well.
Right.
So the background is a lot of Namita rather than the other Shanks because most of the other Shanks are first generation entrepreneurs.
Right.
But I think in terms of the empathy, the style, the thinking, I'm a lot like Vinita. And honestly, she was one of my inspirations
Awesome.
going into the show. The
Okay.
kind of empathy she brings to each pitch
Okay.
is something that I do admire about her.
Awesome. Awesome. Since we're speaking of Shark Tank, on one side, Anupam, Aman, Namita, and Vinita are there, right? But then in one of the shows, I saw there was this other Shank who's not on the show right now. I'm not sure if he's coming on the show that you're going on.
No.
Ashneer Grover, right? When he speaks, I find it very, very hard. If I was pitching in as a founder, I'm not sure if people like it or not, but what I realized, a lot of people didn't like that particular way of, a shark answering a founder or questioning a founder because he comes out very rude. What's your take on that?
See, in the world where we live, we have Batman fans and we have Joker fans.
Yeah.
There are a lot of fans for the dark side and there are a lot of fans for the bright side. And believe it or not, Ashneer has his fan base.
Okay.
He still gets called as a speaker at most prestigious, organizations and stuff like that.
Right.
Personally, I'm not that person.
Okay. Okay.
I am not that person who will make someone feel stupid
Okay.
for their idea, who will put them on a spot or who will degrade them. Because I was once that. I was a very naive, dumb child. And
Right.
the intelligence and the elegance that I have today
Yeah.
is a journey, has been a process. So I know what it is to be naive and dumb and make a few mistakes and not get your product or answer or business right.
Right.
Because I have been there.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of empathy towards founders who are trying.
Get that.
I mean, you're trying. You came on the show. You are
Yeah.
pitching. There are
Yeah.
so many people who are scared of this, who
Right.
don't want to expose
Yeah.
themselves to the world,
Right. Right.
And for me, I see the silver lining in everything.
Okay.
It's actually, I don't see the silver lining. I see everyone as a silver plate
Got
almost.
it.
So I always see like, oh my God, like, you have crossed so many family hurdles. You have crossed
Right.
so many financial hurdles.
Right.
You are here today.
Yeah.
That said, of course, I can't invest in each and every person that has come there.
True. True.
But there is a lot of empathy for
Right.
me to be
Right.
there. When it comes to like my take on people like Ashneer, I'm like, I am so glad that you guys are there because it makes us look so much more better.
Yeah. Thanks for that opinion or your view. Thanks for sharing that view, right? We keep hearing this controversy a lot, right? Founders come out and claim that they have not got the committed investment from the sharks. What's your take on this, and why do you think that happens?
So there is a clause before going into the show. There is a memorandum of understanding and a term sheet which says that you do get 90 to 180 days of due diligence after the show.
Right.
And you have to understand it's a spot funding reality show.
Correct.
How much can I, as an investor with all the experience, understand in the 15 or 20 or 30-minute pitch? How much can I understand your company?
Yeah.
I have to believe you on your face value.
Right. Right.
But when we go into the due diligence in those 90 days, when we are going in the line items of your books, when we are going into the nitty-gritties of the business, where you are, you have sister concerns also, and you're showing something else in the other books, or you have taken something as a loan and you're showing it as a revenue. I mean, come on, like these are some things I cannot put my family legacy at risk.
Right.
I cannot go and be okay with those unethical standpoints.
Right. Right.
So we do get those 90 to 180 days, and rightfully so, because if you have said something on the show and it doesn't match the books, we cannot fund those startups.
Got that. So, in fact, this is something that I can relate to, something that you said earlier sometime in the conversation, which is don't judge a book by its cover. So, this is like you on the show, you're judging a book by the cover.
I mean, it
within
has
the show.
happened so many times. They have said like we have patents of certain things, and when we ask for those patents, they are just filed. A patent is a patent when you receive it, right? It's not just a filing, because you can file for certain things and you may never receive the patent of it, or they can be 10 of your competitors who file the same thing. Like,
got that.
So there are these small nitty-gritties which, even I know Shark Tank has got a bad rep for it because they like the investors pull out. But being in the first-hand experience, I've realized, of course, you're going to pull out of these companies where they are not living up to what they have said on the show.
Right. Makes sense, absolutely. In fact, it's very, very critical that nobody gets money just like that. People worked hard and hence they have money, and then they're putting in, right? And it's the founder's job that they ensure and operate with responsibility so that they return it back to the investor. I think that's how it should be. So, Vinita, on the leadership side, right? I'd want to understand what kind of a leader are you? What do you see, when you hire a person, and when do you think that person is good to hire?
So my hiring process is a bit different. I hire people not based on the resumes,
right,
or even the interviews.
Yeah.
I give them a small little experiment to do. Either I absorb them for a couple of months, or either I give them a project to do.
Right.
I notice the subtleties.
Sure.
It's not about getting the job done, but in the process of getting the job done, how driven are you? How faithful are you?
Yeah.
Those subtleties that I have noticed in a person, then I give them something which is of a higher commercial value or a better salaried position or a promotion, a bigger project.
Right.
And that's how I slowly elevate them.
So you spoke of someone coming up, getting hired, and that person growing. I would want to exactly get basically in depth and understand what kind of people get promoted and what are those cues that you see in the person.
So, so whenever you give someone a small task,
Right.
right? One is that they get the task done.
Right.
But the problems that they have, the mindset that they have, the questions they ask you,
Yeah.
you get to know a lot about that person.
Right.
So there was this one time, it was a very small thing. So I asked someone to, I had a box of valuables, and I asked someone to like just take care of this for half a day.
Right.
And we were on a site, we were on a project, and I think I was going to take a flight.
Mm-hmm.
So what I expected the person to do is go and put it in a locker or a drawer which has a lock and keep the key with them.
Right. Right.
That was my expectation.
Yeah.
And what the person did is they kept the valuable box in their bag and they carried the backpack for 5 hours straight.
Whoa.
Those are the small moments. I'm like, if not who else is going to run my biggest project? Of
Yeah.
course, you're the person.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So these are these subtle moments where they go above and beyond your expectation.
Got that.
And they show in those subtleties how loyal they
Right.
are to you, how much you mean to them as a
Right.
mentor, as a boss.
Yeah.
And that is one of the biggest traits for me to absorb a person.
Got it.
Anybody can learn skills.
Right.
With AI coming in, with the kind of mentorship I give them, in 3 months they can learn any skill on any project in any industry.
Right. Right.
I feel.
Got that.
But these are certain human characteristic traits. It's either there or not there.
Yeah.
So that is my compass check. And after promoting them, how their families have elevated. So suppose if their children were going
Yeah.
to a certain kind of a school before joining us.
Right. Right.
Now they are going to much better schools.
Awesome. That's a great impact to actually leave on the people working with you.
The kind of celebrations they are having in a family, whether it's either Diwali or any kind of festival,
Right.
it's very different. The kind of quality of life their family is living by being an employee of Surana Group or by being a co-founder in any of my investments
Right.
is very different. Now, I am not a materialistic person, and I wouldn't say like if you're driving this high luxury car,
Yeah.
after joining us, and before you were driving a basic car, it is the valuation of success.
Right.
But in the world we live in, that is what quality of life is.
Right.
That is what success is.
Right.
And if me being the vehicle, right, me being the catalyst, if you are able to have and your family is able to enjoy the finer things in life,
Right.
then I think that I'm doing my job really well.
Right. Right. So, Vinita, I want to take a step back and probably slightly, because you've gone to Wharton. So I'm assuming you've seen the US side of the market, right? So US VC culture versus Indian VC culture, right? How do you see these two ecosystems, and what do you think? Obviously, US is far ahead of us, right? What do you see is good in US, and probably that has to improve in India, or not there yet?
I think the US VCs, it works for US because people in US are like that. What I mean by that is if you're creating a product and there are a lot of legal lawsuits and everything that people are very, very aware of from day one.
Right.
Here people can get away with everything,
Ah.
So the Indian VCs are also very, very stringent that okay, how are you using my money?
Right.
Where is the money going?
Right.
I think in the US, the angels and the venture capitalists are more relaxed. They are
Right.
like, okay, we believe in you. Let's see where you go. These are the funds.
Right.
And it's a very like a very friendly culture. Here,
Right.
I think it's a bit of a regiment.
Right.
There is a bit of like, what are you doing every quarter? What are you
Mhm.
doing every? There is a lot of like, you're very answerable to
Right.
the investors. You're rightfully so, because we have seen what the misuse of the funds as
Right.
well.
Right.
So I think that is one of the difference that I have seen. Of course, the scale is very different.
Got that.
The kind of the kind of valuations that they do, the kind of uh, capital that they fund in
Right.
for an idea,
Yeah.
which might be a similar idea in India, but the
Got
kind
it.
of valuations you get over
Yeah.
there are much higher.
Got that. Got that. So on the VC side, right? I don't know if this is right or wrong. I heard this somewhere. Uh, Especially US venture capital firms, when they sign the term sheet with the founders, right? They basically ask the founder to sign on an agreement which has the statement which says, we will replace you if need be. Right? A founder can be terminated or fired if need be, right? Is this the scenario with only US, or even Indian, venture capitals have this in their term sheet?
I mean, Steve Jobs wasn't spared of it. But I think in the US, it's a bit more, even in family businesses, actually, over there,
Okay.
it's a bit more on meritocracy.
Right.
So, what I mean by that is, you have a founder which can take a company from 0 to 500 crores.
Right.
Sometimes that founder may not be right for the company to go from 500 to 5,000 crores. You need a different kind of a mindset. You need a different kind of a skill set.
Right.
So there, I think these replacement laws are much more seamless, apparent, and it's very natural to do this because the company is always bigger than the founder there.
Right.
Here, the founder and company is very synonymous.
Okay.
So normally when there are mergers and acquisitions also, you will see that the founder is always absorbed in the bigger company and he is the CEO of that particular domain.
Org. Yeah.
Because here the founder and the company are very, very synonymous.
Got that.
And as Indians, we are more emotional and we have less regulations. So I feel it might be a bit more tougher to take out the founders from the ecosystem.
Right.
And in any case, if it would have happened, I think it would have been from the choice of the founder, not the choice of the investors.
Okay, got that. So what is good in US is what we spoke. I want to now understand what is good in India from a VC culture standpoint. What is that one thing that you think we in India are doing better?
From an investment standpoint, I think, the first round of investors are always from friends, family, and fools. So we always want to help our family members out, our neighbors out, our community out. And I have seen that in India, the community is very, very strong. If you're from a particular community, the community always wants to root for you.
Right.
And the culture is very much like we are one big family.
Right.
So I think the good thing about India are the emotional values that we have, the family values that we have. It really helps at least to give that first push.
Got that.
Now, sometimes it may not come from your family. It may come from your best friends.
Right.
Sometimes not from your friends. It can come from your neighbors or whatever.
Right.
But I think in general, India is very much like, okay, let me help you out kind of a culture.
Got that.
And in terms of VCs, I think we are still a mix of the head and the heart. we still go from the heart. We want to see women entrepreneurs win. We have so many initiatives around it. We want to see certain ideas win. So I think the primary difference I would say is the kind of emotional stuff that we have in India.
Right.
Of course, I think it as the company becomes an enterprise and then higher, I think the emotions are far less over there. There are more processes and systems over there.
Got that.
But at an initial funding level, I think
Right.
those are the sentiments.
Yeah, I can relate to this. In fact, now that I've started my own, I've got so much of support from be it family. In fact, you'll not believe you mentioned emotion in us, right, as Indians. Uh, the landlord where we have our office, he himself is an industrialist and he is also an investor. So when he sees us, the kind of hard work that we put in, the dedication and the whole team, whenever we get the chance to bump in each other, he says, how are things, right? How is it going? And he says, बता देना जब भी मौका मिला, I want to invest. I'm like, thanks for that, but I am bootstrapping right now, and I'm not there in that stage where I would need funds. But yeah, that support ecosystem comes in. Within my family ecosystem also, when people initially realized I'm leaving a high-paying job and getting into this, right? Most of the family firstly was scared. यार इतना comfortable job है, why do you want to leave and all? When they realize the kind of idea or passion that I come in with, they said, "ठीक है, go out. We are there for you, and let us know whatever you need." And like for now, I have my savings. Let me start with that. If that doesn't work, then I'll come to you. Yeah, I think rightly pointed out on that side of it, Vinita. Vinita, I want to understand one other thing, right? This is striking my head. You are wearing multiple hats: industrialist, being there on the Surana board, win-win situations, venture, win-win spaces now, 12 companies you invested in. And then on other side, you have content that you also spend time on. How do you manage all of this? Because I'm thinking what would be there or what is the kind of construct that mind would have is what is on my
Madness.
head.
But there is a method to the madness, and I think the method is I'm addicted to achieving.
Awesome.
I have this high addiction of achieving, and it can be in a small team. And I have observed myself, like, most of the teams that I am in, which are apart from my family business and my, my own ventures.
Right.
Most of the other teams I'm in, like say it can be a board in an organization,
Right.
or working with the government, or most of them say, like, while others are thinking how to get things done, Vinita's already done it. And there is a lot of like claps and noise and all the emojis on WhatsApp groups and all. But it is not for that. It is for my own addiction of winning. Like, I want to get up today and I was like, if I didn't win today, I'm not having a good day. So that really drives me. And then I look at somebody, who's having like say 500,000 followers.
Right.
And they may not have a business at all,
Yeah.
or they may not have other things, but they have 500,000 followers and they're doing content really well.
Right.
For me, in that moment, it's like, wow, I want to spend time with them. I want to know how I can get my brand to that.
Right.
So for me, I'm always in competition with myself, but I'm always inspired by others' achievements.
Awesome. Awesome. So being in that zone where you have so many things and valuing others, whether they are small, big, doesn't matter. You still value them.
Exactly.
Right?
I think you got it right.
Yeah.
So it can be a very simple person, who's doing extremely well in content.
Yeah.
Or it can, so most of my friends, I have this experience. Most of my friends who comes from business families, they hang out with people
Yeah.
from business families.
Yeah.
Right? I am not like that. I want to spend more time with someone who's a great podcaster. I was like, okay, like how do you do this?
Right.
Like even I want to learn from you. And especially when I have my eye on something.
Right.
Like right now I am loving the whole game of content creation and brands approaching me and me doing those fun reels and brand promotions and all. I want to spend more time with influencers, and I
Awesome.
know a part of my community might even judge these influencers. They
Right.
may kind of even look down upon them, like that's not a real job, or they may be like, that's a very different kind of crowd, and business family is a very different kind of crowd.
Yeah.
For me, I have never thought like that. I have thought like, wow, like they have talent, and how can I spend time with them and take that part of their talent
Right.
to put it in my piece of the puzzle.
Awesome.
So that's how I started expanding myself in so many different industries, is because I get attracted very easily to new things every day.
Awesome. That's a great mindset to have. As in, thinking about it, how do you balance all these is something which is still a question on my mind. That needs a really strong mind. In fact, running the business,
No,
doing
of course, there
multiple
are
things.
sacrifices, by the way. Of course, there are sacrifices. So last night, my entire family and my friends went out,
Okay.
So they went out, they were partying, and I had to leave early because I had to be on the podcast today.
Yeah.
So, of course, there are certain types of sacrifices, but I don't view them as sacrifices.
Yeah.
So, there are certain kind of foods I don't eat at all. I know I love them, but I don't eat them at all because I know
Right.
they will drain my energy in the day, and I won't be my 100% when I go to that meeting.
Got that.
So, there is a lot of sacrifice. There is a lot of things you need to give up to have this mindset. And I call this journey from good to great.
Yeah.
There is something in greatness which is not there in goodness.
Right.
And to reach that level, you have to give up so much.
Yeah.
But when you're giving that up, it doesn't feel like giving up. It feels like I'm prioritizing what I really want,
Wow.
who I really am going to be by giving up this. I know if I don't eat certain foods which are very good and, in the mouth for 2 minutes, but they're going to make me feel sluggish for next 3 hours, and
Right.
I'm not going to be my 100% at my founder's meet, who I meet him like for 1 day in a month.
Wow.
I have to think bigger than me.
Absolutely.
Or if I'm going to a speaking event, or a podcast, and my friends and family are enjoying their own family holidays. So in my entire family, I have taken the least number of family holidays, or, like Michelin star restaurants, high luxury bags, and, I am blessed with everything. But
Wow.
the thing is, I cannot indulge in all that so much because I have to show up for my craft.
Awesome.
So that mindset, those kind of sacrifices, that kind of time management, I am in a position where I can go on a vacation 12 months a year, right?
Yeah.
But I want to be here, show up for my craft, and go to greatness. Like goodness, like having those luxury cars or having a luxury life is not good enough for me anymore.
Right.
I want to touch 1 million people. I want to upgrade families. I want to upgrade myself.
Yeah.
In mentally,
That's
spiritually, emotionally, physically.
That's lot of mental, the mentally strong person is very clearly seen. In fact, I'll tell you one scenario. When you said I avoid certain foods, there was this doctor on my show, and he said sugar and salt are the dangerous most for a human body. And after that, it stuck my mind, and I'm like consciously avoiding sweet. But then I can't control. Sometimes I still go out and have pastry or all of that. So, on a serious note, when you say these things, that reflects on how mentally strong you are. If you've decided, you have decided.
Mentally strong is definitely something. Now, when you're saying it, when I reflect on it, it's 100% true, because there are days where, I've had, say, like, I'm jumping countries, I'm having jet lag, I didn't have a good night's sleep, but I have promised someone that I will be at their store launch or their event at a particular time. I will show up, because it is the most important day for your store, for your business.
Right.
And my sleep, or me not eating well, or me having a bit of temperature, a bit of health problems,
Right.
is insignificant.
Right.
So for me, I think something that's really worked for me in the mentally strong game is I put my mission bigger than myself.
Got that. Got that. You believe in manifestation?
Yes, of
Okay.
course.
So, how do you go about manifesting, and what time of the day do you manifest?
So, I don't know if you've heard of this, but the meditation that you do is not in the 10 minutes that you sit in that position and you're making your mind silent, or you're manifesting, or you're visualizing.
Right.
It is in the 23 hours, 50 minutes that you're doing other things also.
Oh.
The exercise that you do is not the 1 hour you go into the gym.
Right.
It is the rest of the hours, like what kind of food you're putting in the body, what kind of choices you're making. If you're going to exercise for 1 hour and eat burgers and pizzas and party and have alcohol, then there's no point of the exercise.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So, manifestation isn't about waking up early and visualizing. It is a 24-hour job, living in the next version of you.
Right.
So, what would the next version Vinita think? What would she feel? How would she carry herself? Where would she shop? Who would she spend time with?
Right.
That is constantly on my mind.
Awesome. Vinita, I think we are coming close to the end. I already took slightly more time than the time you gave me. Last couple of questions. What is the advice that you would give to someone who's wanting to start a company of himself, right? Whether it is a fresher or an experienced person, what do you recommend them, and how do you recommend them to start?
I think the first thing is follow your bliss. Follow the activities where you lose track of time, where you lose track of sleep, where you lose track of, eating, where you lose track of, okay, after I do this activity, I am going to reward myself with a cookie or a cake. No, the activity needs to be your brownie or cookie or cake. That activity needs to give you such a big high that you don't need other stimulants.
Right.
So be very, very aware and recognize that for yourself.
Right.
After you do that, invest a lot of time in making that activity commercial. Because if you have a passion towards something and you're not making money, it is a hobby.
Right.
If you're making money, it's a business.
Right.
So convert that activity into a commercial thing.
Got that.
Normally they say for others it needs to feel like a chore. For you, it needs to feel like fun. If you can crack that, I think a lot of chartered accountants, the right ones, like I cannot sit 10 minutes in that meeting, and they can go on for hours. They're so passionate about it.
Yeah.
Of course, they've hit the nail on the head.
Right. Right.
A lot of artists, a lot of creative people are like that.
Right.
And when you convert it into the business and you're getting rewarded, awarded, paid for something, it's very sustainable.
Get that. Awesome. Awesome. So, Vinita, you are a woman yourself. What is that one advice that you would give to any women wanting to be successful?
Believe in yourself more. If you haven't watched the ads from Dove, please go and watch it, because they say that men have more confidence than their actual skills and women have less confidence than their actual skills. So if you think that you are worth a certain amount, you are worth much, much more. Believe in yourself more, figure out your self worth issues. Because I feel every woman is so talented and they're so naturally, they can wear multiple hats naturally.
Right.
But they have a lot of low self esteem and low self worth.
Got it.
So, my 2 cents would be never stop growing, never stop believing in yourself, because
Yeah.
each and every woman has the potential to really shine out, shine, upgrade their family, start businesses, and really do whatever the hell she wants.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks for that. You are an investor. From an investor standpoint, right? Somebody's starting out and wanting to reach investors, but they are really scared of getting a no. What is that one myth that you would want to burst from the investor side?
Don't be scared of rejection, and don't be transactional.
Right.
If you're coming to me for the first time, don't expect me to invest in you.
Yeah.
But if you keep that relationship going, if you show me in action, in words, and subtleties
Right.
that you are investable, of course I'm going to invest in you. So don't fear rejection. At the same time, invest a lot in relationship building,
Right.
invest a lot in being good and attracting the right people to you.
Awesome. Awesome. Vinita, last rapid fire. This is going to be the end. Founder you admire.
Actually, growing up, I really liked Richard Branson.
Okay.
The kind of flamboyance you can say he's brought to serious products.
Yeah.
I think I really admire that. Of late, I really admire Elon Musk,
Okay.
not as a person, but the companies that he's built and the problems he has solved and his thinking.
Yeah.
He has this thinking that I can get the job done in a certain amount and he gets it done,
Yeah.
or in a certain way. So the kind of thinking that nothing is impossible, I think Elon Musk.
Okay, great. One panel member, be it from Lion Den or Shark Tank, you would like to co-invest in a startup.
I would, though I really admire Vinita, but I think somebody who would be a lot of fun to co-invest with would be Aman.
Okay.
The kind of fun that he brings to the serious products is really cool.
A startup space you will never invest in.
You know, honestly, I've not come to that. I've never invested in pharma,
Okay.
but only up till now.
One personal mantra or quote that never fails you.
Stay humble in your wins and brave in your losses, but every single day, show up to work like a champ.
Awesome. Awesome. One costliest item that you have bought till now.
Honestly, you were asking me the power of manifestation, right? So believe it or not, everything that I own that is costly or rich, I have never bought. It has always come to me through my loved ones.
Awesome. Vinita, thanks for giving us time, and this long conversation has really come out well. I was honestly very nervous in the beginning, but as the conversation flew, I was really enjoying every bit of the conversation that we had.
Thanks, Pradeep, for having me. It was such an insightful conversation. I got to learn so much about myself and explore parts that I haven't yet thought so deeply about. So, thanks for bringing that out of me, and hopefully, it inspires the audience and they get to learn a lot more through our conversations.
Right. This is the first episode in Power Up with Pradeep. We would want you to come back probably after you being there on Lions Den, and we want to do once again with you on your experiences on how's your experience being a lioness, actually investing on multiple startups on the Lions Den show.
For sure, I'll come here and spill all the beans, all the controversies. I'll answer everything then.
Thanks for that. Thanks for watching this episode till then. If you like the video, please leave your feedback in the comment section down there and share this episode with your friends and family. See you in the next episode. Thank you.